It was just my imagination running away.
Just My Imagination was a huge hit for the Temptations half a century ago. Now that song and many others are rocking a theater on Broadway. Tracy Smith has saved us a seat.
Close your eyes, and it's 1969 all over again.
I can make it rain whenever I want to. Oh, I can build a castle from a single grain of sand.
This is Ain't Too Proud to Beg, the life and times of the Temptations.
But my life is incomplete and I'm so blue, 'cause I can't get next to you.
Of course, they aren't the real Temptations, but just like the originals, they can sing, and man, can they move. And this is only the rehearsal.
I've heard this a lot, that this was my parents' music. Does that put pressure on you guys? This is a legacy you have to live up to?
It kind of just feels more like kind of like a love letter to them, you know? I've always wanted to be a Temptation when I was like a little boy.
And now you got the shot.
Now I got a shot. I got a shot to do, you know, a lifelong dream.
Well, I guess you would say.
And what a shot. The show is in previews now. It opens later this month. But the story has been in the works for more than 50 years. Detroit singer Otis Williams formed the group as the Elgins in 1960, and they got a name change to the Temptations when they signed with Motown the following year. Since then, only two things have stayed the same: the name and Otis. There have been around 24 Temptations, and Otis Williams, now 77 and living in Los Angeles, is the last original member.
Did you ever stop believing in the group?
No,
Never.
never. No, I knew we had something magic because I could tell by the way the audience would react to us.
I know to you it might sound strange, but I wish it would rain. Oh, yeah.
But it took a while for that audience to find them. At first, the Temptations were known around Motown as the no-hit wonders. But after about 24 tries, their songs really started to chart, and they went on to become part of the soundtrack of the 60s.
So,
Yes.
could you have ever imagined 50 years ago that the Temptations would be on Broadway?
You could have tipped me over with a feather before I would believe this would be happening to my life.
Ain't too proud to beg, sweet darling. Please don't leave me, don't you go.
See, I'm from Texarkana, raised by two grandmothers. From that scene to where I am now, a quantum leap. Never would imagine. So God is truly in the blessing business.
And I'm gonna make you love me. Ooh, yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Of course, bringing the Temptations to Broadway meant cramming 50 years of Motown history and music into 2 hours.
Folks see 5 black brothers on their TV screens. They're gonna see 5 gentlemen.
We'll do whatever it takes to make a hit.
But for
Quality
Dominique
control
Morisseau, who
is
wrote the show's book, the Temptations' story has never been more relevant.
Here we are at this moment in their story where these young men are in a moment in their nation that's in great civic unrest. They're trying to navigate who they're going to be as artists, coming from a city that is also in great civic unrest. And I thought, that's where we are right now. That's where we are once again.
Somebody's gotta do something about that now. He's upstaging me.
As you might expect, the show tackles some of the drama behind the Temptations' music, and there was plenty of it. Paul Williams took his own life at 34. Lead singer David Ruffin died of a drug overdose. Bass Melvin Franklin had rheumatoid arthritis and died at 52, the same age that lung cancer took Eddie Kendricks. Of course, not all of the problems were life and death.
Papa Was a Rolling Stone almost didn't get recorded.
Why?
We were tired of that psychedelic soul.
You didn't
Yeah.
want to do that kind
No,
of
we
music?
didn't. We didn't. So I said, come on, champs, let's go on and get this out of the way. So we went in.
To get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way, that's right. I mean, we were tired of that stuff, but I have a gold and platinum hanging on the wall, so it's good. Okay.
You have a favorite song?
Sure. I'm a big Temptation fan. My Girl.
My Girl.
I got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
I guess you would say, what can make me feel this way? My girl, my girl, my girl.
This is the recording session for the cast album. For the guys who play the classic five, left to right, Ephraim Sykes, James Harkness, Jawan M. Jackson, Derek Baskin, and Jeremy Pope, it's been an education.
What have you guys learned about the Temptations?
We realized just how much they had to sacrifice to be who they are, to get where they got.
And they also learned just how physically tough it is to be a Temptation. Just imagine doing this 2 hours a night, 8 times a week.
Speaking of sacrifice, this is a grueling show for you guys to do. It is nonstop moving.
And one of the craziest moves came from the last Temptation himself.
I said, now, if you really want to capture the essence of the Temps, the original Temps, David Ruffin would throw the microphone up, spin around, drop to his knees, and as the mic come down, he would grab it.
He's like, if you can do that one move for me, he's like, you'd really have David. I said, Otis, come back next week.
I didn't think he would get it. Next time I saw Ephraim, he had it down.
He was doing that move.
He was doing that move. I said, oh, he got it, he got it.
And from that point on, literally every time I throw that trick, I think about him.
Talk about singing and dancing your heart out. It's no wonder that for Otis Williams, being a Temptation just never got old.
I always tell people success can be such a strong aphrodisiac. I mean, we were riding so high in the success of our life story that I actually would have to go off to the side and do this here, pinch myself. I said, I can't believe this.
You literally pinch yourself.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And the ride has been so intoxicating that I'm enjoying it still, even with all the, the changes that I've gone through.
And if success is measured in standing ovations, the Temptations' long ride is far from over.